Well, you asked for it. Roxy Striar, she's back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the big thing. A lot to talk about today. Obviously, if you didn't know already, what we've done is Wednesday now is kind of the big thing, but it's the Sith Council. So Sith Council is kind of just turned into an episode of the big thing, and you can get those episodes on this podcast feed. So if you're listening to this on the road or whatever it might be, you're going to do that. You're going to get an episode of Sith Council every Wednesday. And then the way that I think I'm going to start doing this, I think I'm going to start having Big Thing on Monday, and I think I'll have an episode on Tuesday and Thursday, Big Thing, eventually. And then we will have the rewatch episodes, which kind of it's kind of standalone thing on Friday, and the Sith Council on Wednesday. So we're looking to try to put 5 episodes out a week, but we're also putting out short form videos and reviews and all that. So if you're subscribed to the channel, you should do exactly that. You should subscribe. You should keep the notifications on. Do all of it because it's very, very, very important. And subscribe right now. Subscribe, hit the notification button. Do it all. And Roxy and I are going to be talking about some of the stuff coming out of Cinemacon. Batman got a sequel. Who didn't see that coming? There's going to they showed Avatar footage. They showed 30 minutes of Lightyear. They Florence Pugh and Harry Styles are fooling around in a bed, and that's getting thousands of retweets. So there's tons of stuff to talk about. We'll talk about it all. Lots to talk about. Let's do it. It's a big thing. It's me. It's Roxy Striar. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. There she is.
Kristian, I did something bad already.
What'd you do? Did you break the chair?
No,
What?
I remember I had gum in my mouth.
Yes.
And then I remember I put it on my cup.
You lost the
And
gum?
now I see it's not there, and I'm like, what'd I do?
What'd you do with it?
I don't know.
Did you Ellis it and put it in your drink?
Do you know that one time I was with the crew that you put together for DC Movie News back in the day,
Yes.
and we were at the screening of Justice League, and I went in with gum, and I remember putting it in my arm because there was no trash can.
Put it in your arm. Why don't you just get up?
I don't know. I put it somewhere. I didn't know where I put it. I was like, where did I put it? And then, because I was in the screening. And then afterwards, I was like, guys, I think I left my gum in there. I'm really embarrassed. I don't know if I put it on the seat, whatever. And then
It was in someone's hair.
No, 6 hours later, I'm out to dinner, and my watch moved, and the gum was all stuck between my watch. Yeah, it was disgusting. And I don't know where it is, Kristian.
All right. Well, is it on the side of the cup?
I don't know.
Is it?
It's in the thing.
It fell in there somehow? Look at that. See? So I was right.
I did it. Okay, good. Because otherwise, this was going to be the last time I was invited here.
Well, yeah.
She shows up late. She puts gum in.
Not only shows up late, forgot she was doing the show.
Completely forgot.
Even better.
Completely forgot. Kristian said, you almost here? I got the text. I was like, almost here. Where would here be? That's the worst panic feeling that a person can have, where you're like,
well, because it's very unlike you is why.
I'm so unlike me these days that you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right. So who knows?
I was like, wow.
Well, you're a big TikTok superstar now.
Yeah, that's true. Me and my 10,000 followers.
Hey, but you jumped from 2010 pretty quick.
I started telling these stories.
The ones that you used to tell on Collider Live.
Legitimately the exact same
story,
ones.
I remember.
Same exact ones. And you know what? The same ones that I've been telling my grandmother for years, because she checked it out and was like, you told me all of these.
Incredible.
It's like, good.
Well, good for you. So you guys should check out Roxy. She's on the TikToks. And I posted one thing. The first thing I posted on TikTok in a month.
I obviously watched it. I thought it was great because everybody does know the Batman is going to get a sequel, so that's the whole video.
That's it.
Everybody was like, the Batman 2?
Well, I did a video.
With Robert Pattinson?
But I did a video where let's see. We'll start with this one. Oh yeah, that's great. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Not that one.
Keep scrolling.
Mm-hmm. That one. I started with the Justin Lin thing. I made an actual video of it. Did you hear about this?
I'm kind of bummed.
That he left? Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
I don't get it. What, all of a sudden, creative differences?
Got to have beef with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, what do you think? You don't think it's actually creative differences?
Someone
what are you
said
creating?
It really. Well, I do think it's creative differences. I think that what happened was someone said it in the comment section of the video that I did yesterday, and I agree with this guy 100%. Vin Diesel has now become LeBron.
Yeah.
And now any coach that comes in, no matter how many championships that coach won, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If the star doesn't like what you're doing, you're out. And I think that's exactly, he stayed on as a producer, and that's what they offered him. Hey, you've done so much for this franchise, and you basically reinvented the franchise with your directing. You can have producer credit and still make money on this, but you're not directing anymore. And not only get fired, I think he just said, forget it. They were a week into shooting.
I know. That's why it's surprising to me, because he does do such great work. So I wonder what that could mean. And I'm with you. I think that Vin Diesel, he's one of the last living legit stars. I mean, he's like a massive mega
He's a star, but his movies, he hasn't changed like what the movie star used to be able to get you to buy tickets because of his name. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, that's not the same anymore with anybody, probably but The Rock. I mean,
even The Rock though doesn't necessarily, but he's the closest one to it. I agree.
Yeah, so I think with Vin Diesel, he knows he is a movie star. Yeah. One of the last, and I think he just doesn't want to deal with anybody he doesn't want to deal with. But why he wouldn't want to deal with him is beyond me.
Well, because who knows with the direction that they want to go with it, and I still haven't seen the last one. I never saw 9.
I don't understand where we could go that would be beyond the realm of possibility.
Did they do space already?
We venture into space at the last one a little bit, but we're not on Mars or any. We could really do space. We could really do a whole fast on Jupiter.
Right. I would love to find out like what it really was and what happened as far as what maybe Vin wanted to do, and then Justin, come on, even that's a little too far, man. Like I don't know, because you look at Vin Diesel has clearly been like the spokesperson of this whole entire thing, because even when he had that thing going on with The Rock a little while ago where he's like, Dwayne, come on back and join the family. And Rock's like, I see what you're doing, you manipulative fucker. No. And The Rock pretty much said that. He's just like, this is all for show here. No. I'm not coming back, and you're full of shit.
I've been in the room with Vin several times now, and
interviews and stuff.
Mostly because we have a mutual friend.
Oh, okay.
So birthday parties and things like that, and it is interesting always with him because he's lovely. He's so nice, but he does own whatever room he's in.
Yeah.
Like if he walks into the house and is on another end of the house, he's there immediately.
Right.
Because it's a different level of star power. And even when I was with him and Sylvester Stallone in the same room, Vin still owns the room, which is interesting. Like
but I want to see that in 1985 if that's the case.
Yeah, totally. It's right. I just found it fascinating that like he is the focal point.
Yes.
And I think that probably even when The Rock's in the room, even though I would deem The Rock to be a bigger star,
but they're butting heads.
Yeah,
they butt heads over your ego-wise and all that, and whatever it might be. They just different philosophies of how maybe they see things or run things. But either way, Rock didn't get along with Tyrese either. I think on that. So who knows what happened?
Tyrese seems to be very. He seems to be a character too. They all have strong personalities.
Could be, and that's why. But the fact that they got 9 movies done is
unbelievable.
Is pretty phenomenal. So the 10th movie, I mean, they were the thing that stands out is not necessarily directors leave all creative differences all the time. It happens in Star Wars, I think, every movie. But when it happens a week after, and he was writing it too, I think, too.
That's so weird then, because then creatively you should know kind of the direction he's going in.
Maybe off of that script that they were happy with, Vin wanted to start doing some other things, and he said, but that's not what we discussed. That's not what we want to do. We don't want to go that direction. We want to make sure that we go this way. And Vin's like, no, we have to do it this way. And that's probably what happened. And I think that's ultimately what happened on Deadpool 2 with Tim Miller, right? Because and I think that him and Ryan Reynolds butted heads. And when the star becomes the producer and the bigger name, it's going to be hard for the director to ever win that battle. And I think Justin Lin probably knew that and said, I'm not going to go through a full movie like this, because this is now. And the other thing that people were saying was that he was offered the next Star Trek again. So he probably was like, I'll just take Star Trek and walk.
You think that he walked, you don't think he was pushed out?
Maybe a little both.
Yeah.
Maybe a little both.
Mutual.
Yeah.
Do you like these movies?
I enjoy. It's funny. The first movie was a Point Break ripoff, and it was just whatever. Second movie wasn't even him, right? Oh, the second one was him. The third one wasn't him. The fourth one was when it started to turn, and Justin Lin, I think, was focal point of that. But the fifth one is awesome. It's just a really over the top action movie, and then they start to get a little bit more cartoony superhero, which I enjoy. I enjoyed watching all the rest of them. I think 8 was kind of where I was like, I don't know if I need to see another one. And then the 9th one, I wanted to see it, but it was right when everything started in the world, and I'm like, I don't know. And then it's been sitting somewhere on my shelf for like a year, and I still haven't watched it.
I don't know how good it was. I just know it was one of the first theaters back in film that I went to.
And so it just felt good being back in the theater.
Kristian, I thought it was the best movie I ever seen in my life.
Right,
I could have cried the whole movie.
Right.
I had a beer during that movie, and
you're just like,
I'm sitting there
like
drinking my Rona,
Yeah.
watching it. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable.
Right, just because
this is incredible.
Because it just felt like being back in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
I understand
and
that.
hearing other people laugh. I was like, "You're laughing. I'm laughing too."
So see, it's just different reasons.
Yeah,
for
so
it.
I don't know. It could have been awful.
But my point with all that is that as I'm talking about that story, then it was where the hell is it? And then where's Batman? Do I even have any Batman?
I'm Batman.
See, I can't look at all this stuff. Don't worry, we'll talk about all these things.
I actually think it's really impressive what you're doing, Kristian.
I don't.
It is.
I don't even have any of the Batman here.
I think it is.
It's not too impressive. I don't even have Batman.
I think maybe if you keep scrolling, we might find him.
I got him. Watch this, Roxy. You want to be impressed?
Yeah, I do.
All right, here we go. There's Batman.
Oh,
Just like that.
Way to go.
Thank you.
It's pretty good. I do think it is. You're doing a lot of things at once. You're wearing all the hats.
Trying to. And the Batman, they announced the sequel. Now, I would have done a video on, I would have done a video of the Batman if they would have done a release date. That's what I thought they would. People were like, "Oh, the Batman's coming," and I
announcement.
I had a graphic ready. I made a thumbnail. I'm like,
for the release date?
For the video that I was going to do. And I still put the video up anyway on the short that I did. But I was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do this video because the release date, if it comes out 2024, that's interesting. That's only 2 years. And that means that they're moving so you can kind of get into it. But then it's like, they announced it and he's excited. I'm like, well, that's a short.
Yeah.
That's, hey, they announced a movie that made a lot of money that's going to do a sequel. And Robert Pattinson wants to do it because he can get paid more. And Matt Reeves has more story to tell, and he liked his experience, so they're making a second one.
Yeah.
It's like John Lovitz. There you go.
They've been talking about it, too. Like, they've already been talking about who would be the villain in the second one and what their plans are, so we knew it was coming. I made a joke that people really didn't like, Kristian.
What was it, on Twitter?
I think I made it on my show and on Twitter. Obviously, they were going to announce the Batman anyway, but I was like, with everything going on with Warner Brothers, with Johnny and Amber, they're like, Batman, look over here. And that's why they announced it. But obviously, this was already planned.
It's already planned, yeah. Right. Well, anytime you bring that up. And it's so funny that you brought that up because I was like, I said to you as you sat down, like, I don't really normally dive into that stuff anymore. It was our Collider Live days when we did it. And I actually went back and watched that. And when we talked about everything going on with them, and we said, it was like, there's more to that story.
Yeah.
Because that was my overall point with Twitter and Facebook and everything is the second someone's accused of something,
Well, WB has really put themselves clearly in some kind of a bind here because they've set a precedent that says that if somebody is abused, then their abuser gets kicked off of their movie. So what are they going to do now?
It's so, and then when you also look at her, all the stuff that's coming out with the video, the hitting thing that she's talking about, and like, I didn't punch you, I hit you. I mean, come on. She's
semantics.
She's got problems. She got a lot of problems. Like, and when massively, because like the way that she was taunting him, like it was very, like, even listening to one of the audio things, it was emotional abuse. Like even like when he's telling her that she's upset, he's like, "Are you, big man?" Like just like the way that really laying into him, and like there's a lot going on there. But then it's so Warner Brothers has so much going on because then there's also the Ezra Miller stuff, and it's like there's so much that they have to do. But like watching this trial alone, and the thing that kind of really got me with Johnny Depp was where he said it doesn't really matter what happens with this trial because of everything that has been talked about in the media and the jobs that I lost. Like, I'll carry this with me the rest of my life.
Yeah. Why it matters is because it's going to force the hand of the industry and specifically of Warner Brothers to make a choice and set a standard here. Whatever the rules are, they have to play by the same rules regardless of somebody's gender.
Right.
They need to play by the same rules. So if their rule is if you are found to be an abuser prior to us shooting a movie, we will kick you off. If you're found to be an abuser and we've already shot your movie, we'll air it, but then never work with you again.
Right.
Like, what are the logistics here, especially after we saw Ezra Miller choke slam a girl to the ground and then y'all didn't say anything.
And that one was a difficult one because it was weird because the woman, I don't believe, you probably know better than I do, didn't come out and say anything about it because from what they said, it was kind of two people goofing around. That was part one, and I don't know. I don't know. But but then the stuff happens in Hawaii the first time,
and then there's a second
and a week
arrest.
later,
yeah,
because he throws something and hits a woman in the head. So it's like, and I said on my
chair at a woman.
Chair, and what I said in my video was that everything that he's done, he needs to answer for his actions. He needs to be removed from stuff, everything. But I also feel in all of these things, these people should be getting help and people should be trying to help them.
Right. That's why I really believe we need some kind of, like how we have for murder where there's manslaughter, there's first degree, second degree, third degree. We need like stages of punishment and for all different actions. And then we need stages of whether it is anger management, rehab, like
right.
what is our intention with people like Ezra when they're throwing a chair at a woman and gashing her head open and slamming a girl to the ground
right.
and telling people that they're going to kill them in their sleep. We're just going to if there's no ramifications, then they're going to just keep doing that.
That's the thing. So I don't know, but all I say is just that it is, and it's interesting you said that when it comes to like Amber is that what's weird on the side of it is it does put Warner Brothers in this position right now because it does, to me anyway, from what I've seen, it looks to me like Johnny Depp, it has his own admission, did some things that he's not proud of and things that he got himself into and things in positions he put himself into right. in that relationship that he wasn't proud of, but he adamant that he never physically like abused her, right? Adamant about it. My personal opinion in watching it, I believe him from what I've watched so far. I'm not on the jury.
Yeah.
I'm just saying from what I've heard so far and the tapes that I've heard so far.
What you've heard, but
well done. But what I will say though with all of that is that it is interesting here, and I throw this to you because you pretty much said this as you're starting it, is that a lot of these times that it is the straight kind of white guy that is going to be the one who's going to get kind of thrown the book at.
Yeah.
And it seems on this side that should be the one that they're looking at going, okay, maybe this guy was tormented by this woman for a lot of it. He did a lot wrong too. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, even from the way that that we saw in those tapes and certain things that he was with the screaming and the yelling and stuff, sure. But this was not, again, to me, does not seem as one-sided as everybody thought it was when it started out.
Yeah, completely. I think that there's very clear evidence, at least regardless of whether you think that Johnny Depp did or did not physically abuse Amber Heard, did or did not emotionally, and did or did
right.
not psychologically abuse her, there is admission of guilt on Amber Heard's side that she did hit him.
Yes.
She said that. She said, I did hit you.
Right. I didn't punch you. I hit you.
I hit you.
Right.
And so putting the Johnny Depp towards Amber Heard part of it aside, she has now admitted
right.
to abusing him
and
physically.
Right. So to which your point is they have this standard. Then
you set your own standard.
Right.
You said, Johnny, because we believe you hit Amber, which now we're finding may or may not be the case.
Right.
We are taking you out of the franchise. So if that's the standard, then don't you have to take Amber Heard out of the franchise, or at least make a statement and say Johnny had not filmed Pirates yet. Amber had already filmed Aquaman. It is our company's standard that we are going to release this, not put her on the press tour, and then not have her be in any part of DC moving forward.
They can't have her be part of Aquaman
of
too.
Course,
did they shoot it already?
Yeah, they're shot.
Oh, they shot.
I don't think they should do that. I think they should cough up the money. They should cough up the money and replace her and do reshoots.
Do like Christopher Plummer style?
But I do think so.
Wow.
And I think they should do the same thing with Ezra Miller, to be honest. But
that's shooting a new movie.
So challenging.
That's shooting a new movie.
So challenging.
Yeah. The Amber Heard stuff, you could probably just find. I mean, I don't know how much of the movie she's in, but I mean that's.
Yeah, it's challenging. But regardless of what I think they should do, they need to do something. Just let us know what you're doing.
Discovery, when they bought it, was like, oh yeah, come on, and they're like, good luck.
Yeah, straight up.
Oh my god.
Because they're not speaking. They're not making any statements. Instead, they have a presentation and they're like, Batman 2. We're not even going to tell you anything about it. And that was my joke.
But you can't, and which I understand you were making a joke, but you can't at that point. You've got to just. What can you do? You can't acknowledge it. And I think that they even showed Aquaman 2.
Oh yeah,
footage, right?
They showed flash footage.
They showed both. But I think that out of the two, both should be addressed, no doubt. But out of the two right now, I mean, the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial is like so out there. It's like it's like this phenomenon.
Well, there's 500,000 people watching live, Kristian.
Wow. So you've been watching every day.
I watch 8 hours a day.
It's nuts. So what?
I know.
So what?
And
so
yesterday
what do you,
was day 9.
What do you get out of it? I mean, not get out of it, but what do you when you're watching it? What have? So you're pretty much. I think you're on the same page as I am, where you think that there's more to it, and that she was definitely, I don't know, more so the abuser. But what do you think?
So as of this point, Amber Heard has not taken the stand, and
is she going to?
I believe so, and we always know that things can change.
Yes.
And as every day comes by, new information presents itself. Yesterday was day 9 was a really huge day because Johnny Depp's team hired this Dr. Curry, who she is wildly well respected in her field.
Okay.
She's done. I mean, talk about somebody whose education list is longer.
She's not going to take money to make somebody look good.
Right.
Yeah.
And she diagnosed Amber Heard with 2 personality disorders.
Oh, wow.
And
what were they?
And after sitting with Amber Heard for 12 hours.
Oh, wow.
And one of them is a borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
The other one was a name that I had never heard of. But she talks about how big signs of this are using colorful language but not really ever saying anything and having very erratic behavior. And she also says that Amber Heard does not have PTSD, that she did not diagnose her with PTSD, and that doesn't mean that she was not physically abused, but that would have been a sign that she might have been. And so it was a really challenging day for Amber's team.
Well, plus the whole thing with the makeup, right? The
makeup company said they didn't start selling that product until after Amber was claiming to have used it.
Now, tell me here, because I find my updates through TikTok and other things, right? So couldn't she say that I was saying I meant this makeup instead?
I do feel that way, Kristian, specifically about that. For me, if you ask me, I might think that I was using my Smashbox concealer, but I could have been using something else. That to me was not a damning piece of evidence. A lot of people think it is.
Right.
In the same way that TikTok is all obsessed with how she's wearing the same outfits as him the next day. Have you seen this theory?
No.
They think she's trying to get in his head because she's wearing the day after he wears a color, she wears that color, or her hair like he's wearing. It's a bizarre TikTok conspiracy theory, but they've got a lot of them. But to me, it's not that. It's her on tape saying, go ahead and tell the world that you, Johnny Depp, a man, are abused by a woman and see how they feel.
Right.
It's that.
Right.
It's her saying, I did not punch you, I hit you,
Yes,
I hit you.
That's the one for me.
You know, it's all of those things.
It's the way she spoke to him. I mean, like, because even the stuff that the video that she because the fact that these two clearly didn't trust each other at all because they're recording each other at every moment, but even the stuff that she
a clear problem.
A clear problem.
I mean, if you get to that point in your relationship,
you're recording each other, and then she was recording him. But even the stuff where he was kind of like belligerent, and the thing that when they were. She was like trying to frame him almost, like when he's passed out and she gave him like the ice cream.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing. And I'm like, it just seems dirty.
Yeah.
It just seems dirty.
Her defense is really trying to make a case that Johnny Depp is an alcoholic and a drug addict. And Johnny Depp has admitted to...
That's what she said. He said I had an opiate addiction. Yeah.
So the problem is that I think that they thought if they could prove that he used drugs and was a drinker, that he was an abuser, and those things are not the same.
No, and you know what sticks out to me, Rox, is that a lot of times... Because we've known people in those types of relationships, and some people, what I think that really stands out to me, and again, you know more about this than I do, so maybe there are other people, but I think that when there is an abuser, a history follows them. I remember Winona Ryder coming out saying never had an issue with him as far as physical goes.
You're talking about his exes might have had a similar problem,
Never
like
heard
his
that.
ex-wife. And
Have other people come out and said that he's been abusive? Because I
have not seen.
That's usually
anything.
that's usually the most damning thing.
For him, I think the most damning things have been the fact that he is clearly verbally abusive to her.
Yeah, and
he calls her a
100%.
fat bitch.
Yeah.
We hear him screaming at her.
Right.
And there's multiple pieces of evidence.
And that's wrong
that
and really wrong, but that's not physical abuse.
That's not physical abuse. Absolutely. And the closest thing that her team has had to proving the physical abuse is this weird head-butting situation. But he's saying he's saying he didn't headbutt her on purpose, that it was that there was like a collide situation.
Yeah.
Also, she's claiming that he puts cigarette burns out on her. He puts his cigarettes out on her. He's claiming sometimes he ashes and maybe she felt an ember somewhere. So we have not yet had a proof of physical abuse for him versus to her, just verbal abuse and possibly psychological
and
abuse.
no exes coming up because like look at someone like Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
When that thing came out, 3, 4, 5 people.
Well, it's not a good sign that Johnny was so close with him and sending him text messages that have come up through this trial.
Right.
I mean, you are the company you keep in a lot of ways. That's not damning to Johnny.
No,
it's just a lot of his.
But when you're guilty by association, sometimes and when it comes to because like who company you keep with, but on the same aspect, I mean, there's also people that that you hang out with and that do stuff you didn't know about and you don't absolutely. I'm just saying when you're mentioning his name, the fact that he's come up multiple times in the trial is like it's not cute. No, I know. I know. It's just the whole thing's dirty.
Yeah, it's gross. And that text message that he sent to Paul Bettany about fucking her dead body, he's going to drown her and then make sure she's dead by having sex with her dead body. And he's saying like that's just our humor. And I'm like, again, not physical abuse,
right?
But disgusting.
No, I know. No, yeah, but I mean that's the same stuff. Like when it came to the James Gunn stuff that happened.
Oh yeah,
James Gunn was there's certain humor that just does not land at all and probably shouldn't be, but that wasn't public.
Yeah,
that wasn't public. That was
bad for Paul Bettany.
Seriously,
this poor guy. They're asking Johnny like, what drugs did Paul Bettany do? He's like, I'm not sure how that's relevant. And they're like, it is. What drugs? He's like, cocaine, like just airing out all Paul Bettany's dirty laundry. Because what he's going to do, he's under oath on. But it's like poor Paul Bettany who's done nothing.
He's all right. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
I'm sure, but it's not fun.
No, I know, but this is the other thing. Is this stuff will be another trial people are talking about and. Whatever it might be. I do think, though, what I will say is that out of all there have been tons of people that have been able to work again and do things again. I do hope that Johnny Depp is able to work after this, too. I do.
We'll see what happens with the end of the trial. I think that if he is proven if they are not able to prove physical abuse, I think
that's what I mean.
I think the internet is going to demand more Johnny Depp
That's what I mean.
stuff.
Yeah, of course, if something comes out where it turns out that she was telling the truth, which it doesn't look good for her right now, but like you said, she hasn't hit the stand.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
More so, I hope that the Warner Brothers and the entertainment industry sets any kind of effing precedent. Any kind.
It's nuts. Well, we definitely, I tell you, I wasn't prepared to talk about that at all, but there we go. And by the way, if you haven't already, do me a favor and so much stuff I got going on here, Rock. So much. Do me a favor and subscribe. Will you hit the notification button? All that stuff if you haven't done it already. All right, moving on. Next one. All right, Rox, we talked about that was my point. It was the Batman. It's just we have the sequel coming out. I'm excited about it. Did you like the movie, right?
I really did.
Okay.
I really did. I thought it was really solid. I think that the best part is that at the end I wanted more, and now we're getting more.
And did you watch it again since it hit HBO Max?
No, I haven't. Have you?
I watched the opening scene. I really love the opening scene.
So great.
It's just my wife started watching it. She really liked it.
She did.
Yeah, she really.
I'm kind of surprised.
No, not for that. Those types of movies.
Cool.
She likes those movies, and then especially as she's. But I had seen it, and I don't know. I just wasn't in the mood to watch the whole thing, so I just watched the opening scene. I was like, because we had started it at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, we're not doing it. Well, you know what I am watching right now? I got sent the last 6 episodes of Ozark.
Shut the F up. How do I get on that mailing list? Oh my God, that's like my favorite show.
I can probably get you on it.
That show is.
It's delivering, Rocks. I'm 3 episodes in.
Really?
It's delivering.
Wow.
It's Ozark it's ending pretty well. I would say I want to talk to you about it, but obviously I don't want to spoil anything.
I love that show. To me,
it comes out. It's like tomorrow or something. Then
I've said they just did the premiere in New York, so I'm sure it's coming right now. I keep saying that to me. It is almost as good as Breaking Bad for me. It's different because it doesn't have as strong of villains. The villain characters are not as strong, I think. Right. But it's still the family dynamic, everything about it. It just works for me.
It does, and I think there's so much. And Laura Linney is doing some great stuff on that show. But
she's unreal.
She really is. So we've been watching that one. I was like, let's take a break from Batman. We'll watch Ozark. And then Moon Knight, which this last episode to me is, I think, the best episode of Marvel television so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of Twitter crying like little babies.
I think for me it was. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I have my full spoiler episode up if you want to go check out that episode. But there's just stuff that I related to in that episode that I think emotionally I was attached to there. But then it was Oscar Isaac just puts on an acting clinic.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's just so good, and what I liked about this episode was that it was cerebral, like it was emotional. It made everything in the previous 4 episodes count, and it doesn't rely on a guy in a cape beating people up. And I like that, but that when that happens, but I don't want it all the time.
Do you feel like you have a full understanding of what's happening?
Now I do. I didn't before. There's still one thing that I still want to know about because, like, the way that they were kind of transitioning in between things. Like, well, wait a minute, what's what? Mm-hmm. Like and I think we're going to learn that in episode 6, the finale. But everything that led from, because Mike Kalinowski and I had these conversations where he thought Moon Knight should just been a movie, and after this episode, I'll disagree with anybody because this was a 45-minute to 50-minute episode that you needed to do that just combined everything.
Yeah.
I loved this episode so much.
That's interesting that he thinks that because it's so rare that I ever think a TV show could be a movie. Often think movies could be TV shows, but what TV shows could be truncated like that? It's
funny. There are some movies that I'm like, okay, that's probably just enough for a standalone. I don't need a TV show out of that. But yeah, I think that I'm. It's so funny because I think when you met me, I was always the movie person, but now I'm so much more into the television shows because I think streaming has just changed that. Like it was always network for me that I always, now if I could go back, I wish Lost could be on like Netflix or something, or Lost could be on Amazon Prime.
You mean for the first time?
Yeah, because you don't have the commercial breaks. They would have truncated that whole series from like 22 episodes to like 10 or 12, and you would have gotten the clear-cut stories. You probably would have had more seasons, and they would have had more time to work on it. It's not all this network TV pressure that they had. And so I love watching the evolution of TV and the characters. Because like Star Wars, I don't need a movie anymore. I understand that, of course, I'll be there and to watch it in the big screen if they do it. I would love it.
With the people.
Yeah, but like Obi-Wan, I'm so glad that's a series. So glad.
Yeah, there is a different vibe though. I don't love how Disney Plus drops their shows.
At midnight on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and last night I watched Moon Knight the second it drops.
Yeah.
And I go to Twitter and you type in Moon Knight and then you go to your friends, people tweeting about it. You can see which of your friends are tweeting about it, and none.
Because they're all sleeping.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I want somebody to talk to.
Yeah, it is bizarre that they do it that way. Here, this is something that I don't understand. We talked about it on Sith Council. So Obi-Wan, speaking of releases, they were supposed to release episode 1 on the 25th, which is a Wednesday.
And now they're doing 2 episodes
on the 27th.
Bizarre.
Which is bizarre in so many different ways. One, it's bizarre because not that this is so much of a thing, but like Stranger Things drops on Netflix that day, so a lot of people will be streaming one and done, and they'll binge the whole thing, and maybe then they'll watch Obi-Wan the next day. That's part one. The one that's bizarre to me is that Celebration starts that Thursday.
You don't think that there is a correlation between those two things?
Don't you think it makes more sense if you're doing...
I do.
If you're doing Wednesday and you go, hey, Wednesday, and then tomorrow, that's the precursor. Celebration. It's tomorrow to talk about Obi-Wan. Now you're asking people who are at Celebration to watch 2 episodes, and then when's the panel?
I wonder if they didn't want spoilers for people who weren't able to see it on Wednesday for the people there Thursday. I don't know.
I don't understand what the reasoning was before. But
confusing.
It's great because you get 2 episodes, because the other thing is that they go back to Wednesday the following week. They're not like moving it to Friday completely.
Do you think that part of them was hoping to stick it to Netflix?
No, because it's like it's just one day.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely think that's bizarre, and there must be a logic that we don't know.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be like, okay, look, what if we do this instead? Because what the other thing that could be is that maybe that second episode, maybe the other thing that it actually could be was that if they were going to drop it on that Wednesday, and then episode 2 has like a massive reveal.
But they couldn't drop episode 2 on Wednesday? Like it was going to be finished 2 days prior?
I mean, maybe they didn't want people to, maybe there's something that happened, like you're saying, with Celebration. Maybe there's something that they want to announce at Celebration on Thursday that correlates into the second episode of episode 2.
Yeah.
Because that's why they're dropping 2 episodes. Maybe Vader stuff, or I don't know.
Either time will tell on this or it won't. Either Celebration will happen and we'll be like, oh, now we totally understand why you did that, or it will happen and we won't, and we'll be like, all right, that was some weird decision making. Yeah.
Right. Are you going to Celebration?
No, but you are, right?
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous.
What
happened? I know that you weren't. You were.
Well, it was weird. It's Reed Pop we'd worked with for years, we're doing Collider Live and everything too, and we submitted for this panel, and we didn't get the panel for Schmodown or anything too. Like, I don't know what's going on. Then I applied for Media Badge, and I didn't get it. And then I was like, I don't know what's happening, right? So then and then I reached out to my contact at Reed Pop, and he's like, no, I'm going to meet with them today, with Lucasfilm today. Let me see if there's anything going on. Like, no, they just, whoever was looking at it just overlooked it. They love what you're doing with Sith and everything too, so they approved it.
Oh, so you're doing a panel?
I'm not doing a panel, but I got a media badge.
Oh.
So the panel, to be honest, I think I just want to go and I would have loved to have done a panel with Steph and Mike.
It's just bizarre that
but the Schmodown panel not doing it, organizing everybody and then taking people away, like, some of the big competitors to do their stuff and take them away from Celebration. It's like I can live without it. I would have liked to have done a Sith Council panel, but I'm happy I'm going.
Yeah.
Because I want to. There's so much. We had this whole discussion on Sith Council. There's so much I think is going to come out of the announcements, television announcements, and the last Celebration there was Mandalorian, but they weren't into this kind of groove that they're in on Disney Plus right now. So I think that we're going to get more information there. I think that we will get a Taika Waititi announcement of his movie, whether or not it ever comes to fruition, who knows.
But you think he'll be there announcing?
I think they'll have to announce at least one movie.
Yeah.
Because like DC and Star Wars, DC and Marvel are talking movies all the damn time, and Star Wars still doesn't have a movie. Patty Jenkins was supposed to have a movie. They lost that one.
Yeah.
Whatever movie they announce, they'll probably wind up losing anyway. It seems to happen every time, but they'll have to announce something, don't you think?
Yeah, I do think so, but I don't know that that's the best method.
No, probably not. But I think that
I think they think that.
Yeah, and the reason I think Taika is because he is one of these guys. He's just hot right now.
Yeah.
And so because he's infused with Marvel and Star Wars right now anyway, with Mandalorian and things he's done, it's like he's like a rock star. When he comes out, when we saw him at the premiere of whatever the hell it might have been Endgame, and he walked out and it was like Mick Jagger walked out. People went nuts.
People
and
love him.
And so if he shows up at Celebration, he'll get a big pop. People will love to see him, and then he announces what his movie's going to be. It'll be a big piece of news.
Do you think if you're Taika's manager, are you telling him that the best thing for him to do right now is a Star Wars movie?
Yeah, because he's got a good relationship with them. And I think that the reason why I'd be encouraged that it would actually get done is because he comes from this school of Deborah Chow, Filoni, Favreau, everybody that worked on the Star Wars show, Bryce Dallas Howard, and everybody who worked on all those directors. They have this kind of a different mentality of the Star Wars lore and the connecting the inspirations to Star Wars that the new trilogy, I don't believe, had. And of no plan and just kind of you make the movie you want to make and do it. Where you listen to these interviews that Ewan McGregor has given about Deborah Chow, she's locked into this thing. And I can't wait to see what she does. She's infusing the prequels, Rebels, the new trilogy. That's like everything that I've been looking forward to new Star Wars content for years.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. I just think it's interesting that Taika's got such a unique career in which he does things like, what is that show that I'm watching of his right now, the Blackbeard show? It's a bizarre comedy, or he does Jojo Rabbit, or just different things where you're like, what? This man, he can do whatever he wants. He can tell whatever story he wants to tell, and is Star Wars what he wants to do?
I think it is. I think so too. I think that's the answer, because if you look at what he did, his episode of Mandalorian, it's funny because when you look at that episode, the last one that he did, it was the season finale of Mandalorian season 1. And it opened up with a very Taika Waititi scene with these two stormtroopers kind of cracking jokes, and it made me nervous. and I was like, okay, is this whole episode going to be like that? And it wasn't.
Right.
It ended really emotional. It had some great moments. It felt very much like the Star Wars universe. And I think to answer your question, if I was his manager, I would or agent, whatever, it's like, yeah, do this because not television, movies right now. Star Wars is like, it's not the top game right now.
Yeah, you could be the talk of the town.
You could be LeBron.
Yeah,
you could be LeBron. You could win.
For sure.
You could win it if you are finally the director that gets the entire fan base on board, the way that you did with. I mean, because a lot of people, there are certain people who that don't like Ragnarok and aren't excited about Thor: Love and Thunder, but the majority of people seem to think that third Thor movie was the best. The way that he was.
Wow, you've met people who don't think Ragnarok was the best Thor movie?
I've seen a lot of people that feel that it's against, because it's very similar to what you were telling me about why people didn't like Moon Knight, because it is against traditional Thor.
Yeah.
What he did is Taika was able to use Chris Hemsworth's natural comedic ability, and he used that with Thor. And they used it in different movies too, but he really used it in Ragnarok.
Totally. And
he looks like he's doing that 10 times over with making him like this hippie version in Love and Thunder, which I'm all for. I think it looks fantastic. But yeah, I think that he's gonna do something. He's had an opportunity to do that with Star Wars, and that's why I think he's gonna announce.
I think it's really smart. I think that if Star Wars messes it up with him, people are gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, true. If they're
so mad.
That's the thing. That's a great point. If Star Wars announces him and they announce his movie, and then they Benioff Weiss, Lord and Miller, Patty Jenkins, Gareth Edwards, on and on and on and on. If they do that again, and people are like, what, Gareth Edwards? Gareth Edwards was shoved to the back. And
with
if they
Taika,
do that with Taika right
know.
now, you can't do that with Taika.
No, people would be like, are you kidding
You
me?
need to step back. But the reason that I feel like that, like if it was another director with that same kind of clout that wasn't connected to the Star Wars universe, if Taika was not connected to the Star Wars universe, I would be very nervous because of that. Because I'm like, he's just going to make some movie that's not going to connect to anything, and it's not going to. He clearly knows the world very well, and is a student of the game. Like, and I mentioned this on Sith. Not only is Deborah Chow, every director that was sitting at that gallery episode, listening to Filoni and Favreau talk, they were like these like wide-eyed kids listening and understanding and talking about and geeking out. It wasn't just a gig for them.
Because they love it, yeah.
Because they love it. And that's why I think that, and it also depends on what it is. Like, it depends on what like if they gave him, if he started out like, I don't know if he's the guy to start like an Old Republic series. I feel like Old Republic needs to be pretty serious. And I think that I don't mind Star Wars having humor. Because Star Wars humor to me, when it's done right, well, like the examples I always use are Han Solo in Episode 4, when he's like, "I'm fine, how are you?" Shoots the things as a boring conversation anyway. That's because it's in line with the character, right? In Mandalorian, when he's talking to the Jawas and the Jawas are making fun of his the way that he's talking Jawa, and then he says, "How about this? You understand this?" And he tries to set them on fire. That's the kind of humor that I think you can work all day long. It's when you get into, I don't think that Marvel humor fits Star Wars. Right,
because not every character is funny in Star Wars, so it doesn't make sense. What is your 15-second TikTok if Taika signs to Star Wars and then they split because of creative differences?
Oh, man. Here we go again. I think it's time for a change. That's all I'll say. Watch my next video. You can't blow this. You can't blow this. If you announce a Taika Waititi, like you've already announced a movie.
Yeah.
But if you announce that what it is with him, this movie has to be made.
What do you think
honestly,
it is?
Though, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No thoughts?
No. No, but whatever it is, whoever it is, whether it's Taika or not, the movie has to happen.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like
because you can't keep doing this. Yeah.
And you say that, but it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, I actually respect the fact that they're not going. It's better that it happened now with Patty Jenkins before they started shooting, because with the Lord and Miller stuff and all of that, it's like it just keeps happening. Every movie, like Colin Trevorrow.
Oh yeah, one. Yeah. It's more than it's more than anybody else.
It's nuts.
And it is at some point, when you're dating somebody and you keep breaking up, like all the people you're dating, you keep breaking up with you for the same reason. At some point, you have to be like,
it's me, not you.
What am I doing wrong?
It's 100%. And it's like, and I think it's. I don't know. There's a lot behind it because there needs to be a Star Wars movie. Even though, like I said, I'm as someone who just likes to take. I like to take in. It depends on why you like Star Wars. If you like Star Wars for the big spectacle and to go there and to just have some popcorn and just watch like lightsaber fights and battles and then I understand why everybody wants to go and see these movies in the theater.
Yeah, that's kind of me.
And I understand that.
Yeah.
I like the lore and the complex lore, the exploration of the characters, the planets, the politics, like all of that. I feel like when you try to do that in a movie, it's too crammed. And if you don't have a plan to get it all the way through, it doesn't work. Like they would have crammed in a Mandalorian movie in like 2 hours of everything that we've had so far in these 1 or 2 seasons. It would be sloppy, and they would have to because it's a movie, and you want people to get money. They would start to X out a lot of the character stuff and put in big set pieces because but they're paying for these tickets. We got to go over the top here, big space battle and this, which I understand when you go to the movies, you want to see that because you don't want to get just conversation. Same thing with Moon Knight. You can't have that kind of episode in a movie because it would be.
Of course not.
No,
you can't spend the time on that.
No, it would be like a 10-minute scene or an 8-minute
Mikey,
scene.
what are you thinking?
100% moron.
Oh, freaking idiot.
Moron. But anyway, so that's welcome to Sith Council.
Thanks.
Yes.
I would do really well on that show.
You would have.
Remember when I couldn't remember Luke's last name the other day?
Did you? Did that
I said,
happen?
what's his last name?
Did you?
Again?
What was that? Was that on Collider Live? I don't know.
I don't remember where it was. I stopped and I was like, what is Luke's last name? Does he have one? And everybody was like, are you kidding?
When was that? I would have remembered that.
I think it was with Steph. I think
wasn't
Steph was
on
like,
there.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
Skywalker.
I loved her story, by the way. She said what she was in, I think she was in Ireland, and she said that there were these 2 guys talking Star Wars.
I don't know
tell you
this.
this? Oh,
no.
It was great. She's like, because she's my number 2 on Sith Council. So like she walked in and she walks over. She's like, you guys talking Star Wars? I'm like, yeah, we're talking Boba Fett. It's like this show. And she's like, oh, I know it. And
it's crazy. It's 2022. How are you gonna assume that she doesn't know?
But then they're like, well, do you know Star Wars? She's like, I know pretty well. And then just started to school them on Boba Fett and shit. But they weren't like, oh, this girl. They're like, they were impressed.
They're excited. Yeah,
they're impressed because she knew her stuff, and she was like, she knows that show. We went extensively on that show.
Yeah. It's exactly what you did for me for DC, which is like the greatest gift that you ever gave me. Is kind of her with Star Wars because she was always a fan, but now she also is like a scholar of it, and
she's so good in it too.
It's amazing to be able to feel confident in your skill set and like you really know something. It not only helps you book gigs, but also in situations like that where you're like, listen up, I got some knowledge. She knew way more
than any of them. But all right, so moving on to the next story, they showed some stuff with Avatar. I don't know what the hell this is, but it's just kind of footage. But they're doing a lot of underwater stuff. But there's stuff. A lot of stuff came out from like Cinemacon. And what was the main thing that I saw on Cinemacon about Avatar? They said like each one's gonna be like a standalone type thing. There's so many updates that are coming out.
There's 7 movies or something.
I think they said 5, but I don't remember how many. Let me see in general.
Are you into Avatar?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I know that it's not a popular thing to say, but I
don't think that.
I am actually really into it.
Speaking of Steph, she is too.
In Avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avatar 2 teaser is going to debut in front of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So we kind of knew that was going to happen, right?
Yeah, you going to that?
Yeah, on Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avatar, The Way of Water is coming this December. It's real. It exists. It's from Jeff Snyder. And Avatar producer John Landau says that each sequel will play out as a standalone story and feature its own conclusion. So there will be an emotional resolution to every film. The journey across all 4 movies will create. So wait, are there 4 new movies or is it
maybe
3
it's 5,
movies?
including the old one? Here's what I think. That sentence, Avatar producer John Landau, after that where he says each sequel, well, you You
Oh,
took
you wanna see it?
You
Sorry,
took it
sorry.
away, but it's okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Your sequel will play out as a standalone story and feature its own conclusion. Shouldn't that be every movie?
That's what I was just
ever?
thinking.
Like,
Yeah,
I love that people like you don't get brownie points for making a movie that has a beginning, middle, and end.
I think what he means, I think I understand what you're saying, Susan. I felt the same way, but I think what he means is that it's not going to be like these big cliffhangers at the end. Like,
yeah, maybe, and that's totally fine too. I just think with all movies, that should be the standard.
Of course, but I mean, but there are a lot of movies that leave you with that cliffhanger.
I mean, Dune.
Sure.
Which I loved.
Right,
Like,
which is a perfect example.
yeah,
like
for sure.
Dune is clearly a part one.
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 1 is clearly a part one.
Yeah, and I think we should really get back to, even though I love both of those movies,
Yeah.
we really should have all movies when you're going to the theater. You should be able to walk in and it has a beginning, middle, end, because otherwise it's a TV show.
Yes, and that's what I was going to say. But look, you can look at it the same way that look at the Marvel movies, right? Like the Marvel movies, I think fit into this definition of what Landau's talking about. There are movies that clearly play into the next phase.
Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War was supposed to be like a part one, so that's a little bit different. But like something
Which
like
I love.
But something like Ant-Man, right? Like Ant-Man, or even Doctor Strange. Which have you watched Doctor Strange again since?
Seen it twice.
When was the last time though?
Years ago.
Okay.
You know it wasn't.
I know, that's why I thought of you because I watched it the other day. With everything going on with the multiverse now, and with the idea that it was Spider-Man stuff and all that, I went back and watched it again. It is significant. I always liked it, so it's a different thing with you and I. I significantly liked it more because it set up the multiverse stuff and everything that's set up. It's set up like they set this thing up a long time ago.
Do you like him though?
Yeah, so you don't like him.
As an actor,
you don't
I
like
think
him as
he's
Doctor
amazing.
Strange.
I don't know.
Okay,
no.
so
No,
even
Doctor Strange is not working for me
so
as a character.
so even in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh well, then you might.
I'm in trouble because of
then you're
that.
in trouble.
And
if you don't like the character, you don't like the character. It's
he's
not the writing
best-
or anything
no,
too.
It's the character.
It's the character.
He bothers me.
I see.
And so in Spider-Man, it's the best him that we've gotten so far.
Okay.
And also, you never know. It always depends on the mood you're in when you go to see a movie or whatever. But he just doesn't
Just
do
bugs
it
you.
for me.
The character bugs you. Okay, well
bugs
that's then there's probably no saving you there.
Yeah, I know. So I just
thought
need more
it was
Wanda
a
in the
different reason
movie.
as far as like writing and stuff because the writing and the story itself plays so much better now because like
I'll rewatch.
it's just
Maybe.
watch it with subtitles like because
Does it help?
it's just when I do rewatches I rewatch them with subtitles because it's almost like I'm looking at the script at the same thing and I'm picking up certain
Maybe he'll
things.
bother me less when I'm reading him.
Maybe it's just because multiverse and the idea of it and then I went did you watch the What If?
No,
Seriously.
only the first episode.
Watch the Doctor Strange What If ones because that I think all of them are going to play into multiverse. And that's, by the way, so that's probably a good transition for us as we maybe call it for our last one. Because Avatar I'm on board with. It's just not
Me too.
enough. Black Phone they showed. Oh, Lady
That
Gaga.
trailer
Yeah, we'll
looks
talk
good.
about that Lady Gaga thing. But Doctor Strange. So, Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. There's...
This picture is so silly.
You think it's a goofy picture?
I think everything about him.
It looks like it's a Batman thing. on
It
him.
just, I don't know, man. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Yeah, you just have there's certain characters or actors sometimes that just that don't resonate with you. But this movie, after seeing there was like a new spot that came out recently, and it had Doctor Strange and the Illuminati and all
Yeah.
this stuff. And they play, but they also showed Ultron's like robots or pushing them in. That plays significantly from What If.
Oh,
Like it's like a massive thing in on What If, and then there's the Dark Universe Doctor Strange that also I don't know if it's the same one, but that also plays in like the Doctor Strange What If episode. I just watched it again the other day. It's basically what if he didn't lose his hands remember the first
Yeah.
he loses his hands. Instead, it's Rachel McAdams' character that dies, and so that is what takes him to become the Sorcerer Supreme, but then he goes and tries to manipulate time to save her, and every single time it just doesn't work, and he gets to a really dark place, and it's pretty
you think that's
fascinating.
going to play into the
I
movie?
think all the What If stuff is. I know for a fact now because that Ultron stuff. When they showed the Ultron robots, I was like, oh, they're playing into like Ultron manipulates time and space, and even the watcher is like, how the hell is this thing doing this? And I'm gonna rewatch that now, because that's gonna play into the multiverse also. So they showed multiverse stuff at CinemaCon, and it seems like it's getting a pretty good reaction.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with that.
Yeah.
People love him.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in. I'm gonna try really hard.
I'm gonna try hard, and I mean, but you liked No Way Home.
Loved.
Okay, so I mean, I think that's where it's gonna play, and I think that they're.
And I love Wanda. She's my favorite character in the MCU.
So I think you think they're gonna make her the villain.
I'm very nervous about it.
Well, she was in the comics.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but she's my favorite hero. So they're really testing my limits on this one.
I think they're gonna test them. I think she's gonna go heel. I think she's
But
gonna pull a Roxy Striar.
finally?
She's gonna.
Sometimes you have to, Kristian.
Sometimes you have to.
Sometimes you have to.
She's going heel.
She trusts no one.
This is the truth. But look, we had a lot to talk about. We probably could have talked about a lot more.
I know. If I wasn't so late.
If you weren't so late, we got to get the hell out of here. Look, for everybody out there, do me a favor. If you haven't done this already, I need you to do it. Subscribe and hit the button, notifications, all that stuff. And maybe you've noticed, and I'll probably do it for this episode too. I'm going to do a few clip out pieces. Been doing that recently. And thank you guys. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast feed. That's very important. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever they're found. But Roxy Striar, find her on TikTok. Find her everywhere. And that's it. Roxy, thank you.
Thanks, Kristian.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.